Hello everyone, this video from Destiny of Biological Sciences, and today we will discuss about the body fluid and circulation. It is a class 11 chapter. This video for NEET exam or NEET aspirant. Now first, circulatory system. What's the component of circulatory system? Circulatory system constitute blood vessels and heart. Here discussion will be the blood vessels and heart. So how the what's the functions of the circulatory system? Circulatory system actually involved in transport of nutrients, oxygen, glucose, etc. Removal of harmful substances. They help to remove the harmful substances also. Now the medium of transport. Medium of transport. It may be waters, it may be blood or lymph, like in case of lower organisms, like in case of sponges, coelacanths, they have a water as a medium of transport. But here in higher animals, in humans, the blood and lymph acts as a medium for transport. Now the circulating fluids are blood and lymph. Blood vessels are arteries, capillaries, veins, and portal system. Pumping device is the heart. Blood. Now the blood is the fluid connective tissue. Origin from mesodons. Volume of blood is 5 liter. Now 8% of the body weight, and in case of female the blood volume is 4 to 4.5 liter, that is 7% of the body weight. Now come into what's plasma is. Plasma equal to blood minus formed element or blood cells. Serum is plasma minus clotting factor. Serum is plasma minus clotting factor. Lymph equal to blood minus RBC plus platelets plus macroproteins. So it is a lymph is a colorless. Now the lymph is lymph actually, it is a blood minus RBC plus platelets plus macroproteins. Buffer system of blood, hemoglobin plus actually blood acts as a buffer, and the pH of the blood is almost 7.4. Now come into the humans, study of blood is called hematology. Formation of blood is called hemopoiesis. Now what's the blood cells actually form? Embryonic stage, yolk sac, few weeks, liver, all bone marrow produce blood, and long bones. The pH of the blood is 7.4 or basic. Blood acts as a buffer system. Now coming to the blood, actually constituent of blood. What's actually blood is made up of? Blood actually contain blood plasma and blood cells. Now if we take a blood from a person and and add some anticoagulant and centrifuge it, then we'll get a particular part. After centrifugation, if we keep it, it's a upper liquid yellow color will got plasma, and the white blood cells and platelets and RBC or red blood cells. Plasma actually contain liquid part of blood, that is 55%, white blood cells and platelets 1%, and RBC the red blood cells 44%. Now come into the blood actually made up of blood plasma and blood cells. Blood plasma actually made up of bilirubin and biliverdin and H2O, protein, nutrients, gases, waste, salt, hormones, anticoagulant. Now come into blood cells of formed element, RBC or erythrocyte, WBC or white blood cells or leukocyte, and platelets. Now in WBC or leukocytes, two types of leukocytes are there. One is called granulocytes, and another is the granulocytes. Granulocytes, where the granules contain there is a dot granules. You will see, if you see in the microscope, that's a neutrophil, eosinophil, and basophil belong to granulocytes. Our granulocytes are monocytes and lymphocytes. Lymphocytes are two types. One is called T lymphocyte, another is the B lymphocyte. T lymphocyte is the Th cells, Tc cells, Td cells, Ts cells. Th stands for helper T cells. It is a CD4 positive cells. Tc cells is the cytotoxic T cells. It is the CD8 positive cells. Td cells or dendritic T cells, and Ts cells or suppressor T cell. B lymphocytes are two type: plasma B cells and memory B cell. Plasma B cells actually produce antibody. Now we'll see that's how much the component that is a that now this RBC or erythrocytes, WBC or leukocytes, and platelets or thrombocyte. Number first we see that in case of RBC, number 5 to 5.5 million per millimeter cube. Why it is called per millimeter cube? Per millimeter cube means the height, length, and 1 millimeter, 1 millimeter, 1 millimeter. When we see in the microscope, then that's why this is a unit. That's a 1 million. We count it in a 5 to 5.5 million per millimeter cube. Now 6,000 to 8,000 per millimeter cube in case of WBCs, and in case of platelets 1,50,000 to 3,50,000 per millimeter cube. Color red due to iron containing hemoglobin, and it is a colorless. WBC and platelets is a colorless. So it's a 12 to 16 gram per 100 ml, and nucleus absent. In case of WBC or leukocyte, it's a WBC present. In case of hair, platelets absent. Lifespan 120 days, generally short lived in leukocyte and short lived. Transport function, transport of gases, and in case of leukocyte or WBC it's involved in defense, and in case of platelets, coagulation of bloods. If number drops, can lead to loss of blood from the body. Now come into the plasma. What is plasma actually contain? Plasma is the say liquid part. That's actually this contain three plasma protein. That is most important is the three plasma proteins are there. Three plasma proteins are albumin. First is the albumin, second is the globulin, and third is the clotting factors. Albumin actually maintain osmotic balance of the blood. Globulin is a gamma globulin, immunoglobulin or antibody. Another is the clotting factor, fibrinogen, prevent excessive bleeding. So erythrocyte, now RBC or erythrocyte. Erythrocyte, formation of erythrocyte, that is called known as erythropoiesis. The presence place of occurrence of it's a red bone marrow, where actually occurs in the red bone marrow. RBC in it's here. You can see that this is a long bones, and this is the red bone marrow where the blood cells RBC production occurs. Now come into the process of formation of RBC. How the RBC forms? Formation of RBC is known as erythropoiesis. First is the erythroblast cells, that is a precursor cells known as erythroblast cells. Its form reticulocyte. Reticulocyte is a immature RBC. It contains ear, nucleus, Golgi complex, and mitochondria. Vitamin B12 and folic acid, iron in presence of this actually converted into mature RBC, and mature RBC most contain hemoglobin, and its shape is biconcave, and loss of organelles, that is nucleus, and it's a loss, as we know that mature RBC lack of nucleus. That's actually all organelles are removed or lost during this phase, and shape change from this shape change, and it's become biconcave. Mature RBC lifespan is 120 days. Graveyard of RBC, where the RBC actually destroyed, it's in the spleen. RBC is destroyed in the spleen. Total normal count of RBC is the 5.5 to 5 to 5.6 million per millimeter cube for male. For female, 4 to 4.5 million per millimeter cube. If erythrocyte number decrease is known as erythropenia or anemia. If erythro if number erythrocyte number erythrocyte number increased is known as polycythemia. Now come into functions of RBC. What's actually RBC done? RBC actually involved in the formation oxygen transport. So how it's transport? Hemoglobin combined with oxygen to form oxyhemoglobin. Hemoglobin combined with carbon dioxide from carbaminohemoglobin. Hemoglobin combines with carbon monoxide from carboxyhemoglobin. So here another terms is associated with erythrocyte, that is called ESR, erythrocyte sedimentation rate. Erythrocyte sedimentation rate help to measure inflammation in our body. Now coming to WBCs or white blood cells. WBC number is 6,000 to 8,000 per millimeter cube. So WBCs among them there is two type, one is called granulocytes and there is the agranulocyte. Granulocytes is the neutrophil PMN cells 65 to 70%, eosinophil 1 to 2%, basophil 1%, and agranulocyte lymphocyte 20%, monocyte 6 to 8%. So now coming to the neutrophil function. Neutrophil actually here we can see the total count. Total TC is known as total count and DC is known as differential count. Total count is the total number of RBC, WBC platelets is known as total count and DC is the differential count. Differential count is the count of different WBCs. Right, is known as differential count, like count of neutrophils, how much neutrophils is there, how much eosinophil there, how much basophils is there, known as differential count. And and in case of functions of neutrophils is the basically they involve in phagocytosis and basophils it's there is three types of secretions are there. One is called heparin, histamine and serotonin. Heparin actually known as natural anticoagulant, histamine increase inflammation and serotonin anti-inflammatory function. Basophils involve heparin, basophils secrete heparin that is called natural anticoagulant. Histamines increase inflammation and serotonin increase serotonin involved in anti-inflammatory function. Now, eosinophil involved in allergic response. Lymphocytes works against infection. And in case of neutrophils, there is another process is known as diapedesis. Diapedesis, what's diapedesis is amoeboidal movement of WBCs during inflammation. Neutrophils are generally fast cells type to bind to the endothelium and extravasate into the tissues. Now we can see that here that if there is a inflammation, if there is a inflammation, the WBCs, the neutrophils actually roll, then activates an adhesion and then squeeze into the from the endothelium of blood vessels. That's actually known as diaphoresis. Now we come into the platelets. Eosinophil actually involved in allergic response. Lymphocytes works against infection. Monocyte involved in phagocytosis, macrophage production. Platelets are also known as thrombocytes, or thrombus means clot formation. There is a megakaryocytes from bone marrow converts into platelets, irregular cell fragments, enucleated sticky structure. Decreased platelet count is called thrombocytopenia or purpura. During dengue fever, platelet count decrease. An increased number of platelet is called thrombocytosis. During dengue fever, we know that during this fever, platelet counts actually decrease, and increased number of platelets we known as thrombocytosis. Now we come into the ABO blood grouping system. ABO blood grouping system we will discuss in the our next video. So here we'll discuss. Now we can summarize here. We have still now we have discussed how the compositions of blood cells, how different types of blood cells, what's their function, what's their composition, what is TC, what is DC, and different types of blood cells and how they works, what is diapedesis. Hope this make helpful. Thank you.